This is a little instructional video on how to turn up the pump on your 89 through 93 Dodge Ram with the Cummins. I'm just going to do basic stuff in this video to get a little smile on your face. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this throttle rod and the ball joint that lays underneath here and move it to the inside hole. So it uses leverage where you don't have to push the pedal as far and you'll get full throttle travel. You need a 10mm wrench, and all you really got to do is pull it off there. There's one. And then pop it off back here so we can adjust it. Now this is your throttle rod. This is everything. This connects your fuel pedal or your gas pedal to the linkage on the injection pump. There's two heim joints. This side, or one of the sides, is left-hand thread. It should be pretty easy to tell which one it is because it'll look weird. So you're going to put your 10mm wrench here and back the nut off, like loosen it up, and then run this in until you get it to where it hooks from here to the ball perfectly. And you'll need a 10mm wrench here for the bottom of the ball and an 8mm wrench up top. Okay, so I got the nut off of the bottom of your throttle rod ball joint here. It was 10mm nut on the bottom and 8mm square on the top to hold it. So disconnect your return throttle springs. Just it helps the pedal spring back up, and I like to take one of them out because it makes the pedal a little bit less ignorant, especially if you don't have cruise control and you're cruising down the highway and it feels like it takes a little strength to push your pedal. It's because of these two springs that are like doubled up. The injection pump actually has its own built-in return spring, so you don't even need these, but it's just good to have just in case this one fails or something. So move this to the inside hole, and once again, moving this to the inside hole uses leverage. It makes it where you don't have to push the pedal as far to get as much throttle. So it'll seem like it'll have a lot more throttle response now, which technically it doesn't, but it does. So just run your 10mm nut back up on the bottom, and it's kind of hard to get to because of underneath the throttle lever is in the way. But put your 10mm wrench, the open end of your 10mm wrench, up under there and hold it on top with the 8mm, and just run the nut up on there, and then you're done there. Okay, now with the throttle ball back in place on the inside hole, we got to take this linkage and hook it back up on this side. And we're not even going to mess with this side if we don't have to. This side is left-handed thread, so loosen up the nut, and your ends might be plastic if they weren't replaced by Cummins at one point, because the plastic ones broke under like really cold weather, and mine happened to be the upgraded metal ones. So with this nut loose, run this in until it ends up perfect on top of the ball. if you don't get it perfect, it might idle too high, and if you don't get it perfect the other way, you might have a little bit of play in the throttle. I'm going to go one more turn just to get it perfect. Right there feels pretty good. So snap it back down on there. Should have a hammer for this, but I forgot one. Okay, that's down there, and that's okay, that little bit of play. Maybe grease it up when you put it back together, but that's pretty much common sense, so I didn't really feel like doing that right now. And I'm probably going to put this all back to stock because the truck is going to be going up for sale. With that done, you can hook your return springs back up that go from here to here. You can hook those back up, and you can remove one if you'd like to make the pedal less strain to push down. Okay, the throttle linkage and rods all back together. Make sure you tighten up this right here. Just make sure that you tighten up that nut so it holds pressure on this piece so it doesn't try to move, spin in and out.